Okay, guys, we're ready for episode two or part two of this entrance design here. I'm trying to create now a 5-room dungeon. As I said previously, a 5-room dungeon of the entrance to a keep. This here is supposed to be a small dungeon that will thematically link everything, uh, this introduction here into the rest of the adventure as a whole. But it will also serve as a tutorial section where I want some, at least to some degree, have some mechanics sort of explained, or at least be available to the players. The last episode we started with room 1, which was the gatehouse, because I wanted the gatehouse to have some simple skill rolls and supply mechanics, and also introduce a zombie that would sort of be tutorial to how do you deal with zombies. Well, you deal with them with fire, but you can't, which this zombie here lying on the floor is impaled and has fire burns from when a brazier once burnt it. Now, the spear symbolizes that the zombie can't be immobilized or can't be killed by normal means, but the firing brazier here will tell you, well, you can at least burn it to death. But this I want to do a small change here, because I want also this here room to explain how XP works. I was supposed to do room 2, but I have to do this first. So XP in my system. What I'm thinking is, I want XP first of all. I want players to, as they finish an encounter and deal with an encounter, I want them to earn XP. The XP is then used to level up, I guess. I don't know how the leveling up system, the advancement system, is supposed to be, if it's classless or with a class, or how I'm going to solve it, but I know how to deal with XP. So I want the players to gain XP if they deal with this encounter. So I want XP if you can move from room 1 to room 2, then you earn XP. But so moving from room 1 to room 2 earns XP. But the thing is that this won't help others. I mean, the players can move from room 1 to room 2, but they haven't dealt with the zombie yet. They haven't opened this portcullis here. So this portcullis is still locked, and this zombie is still there. And so each and every time the players are moving back and forth, because I want them to move back and forth from their home base and into this castle and back. So each and every time they will have to climb over here and move over to the other side, which again, I don't want them to earn XP from that. I want them to permanently solve this room. And by permanently solve this room, I mean kill this zombie and open that locked portcullis. Now, how I'm going to do that is actually by setting up I don't know what these are called, but the chains and stuff that holds up the portcullis. So here's a bunch of chains that go down into the portcullis room that will lift the portcullis, and that if the players open up this here, then they can get a free pass in over here. They can just walk. There's no skill rolls, there's no checks, just walk straight through. And but this here is blocked by the zombie, so they have to deal with the zombie in order to open the portcullis. How they want to do that, if they want to throw him over into somewhere else or burn him or whatever, that's not the point. Just deal with it, and this will sort of be sort of I'm just gonna call this a wind. Is it? I think it's a wind. Winding portcullis thing. Yes. So I would say you earn XP for each sort of achievement you do. So every time you do the same thing over again, you don't earn the achievement. So you don't earn more XP. So moving across over here doesn't earn you more XP, but dealing with this, well, so I actually XP room 1. That is firstly get to room 2. That is one way of earning XP. The second one is open portcullis. Now, how I'm thinking this should work is that each room should have a specific XP. Each encounter. I want my role-playing game to be sort of easily designed so that it's easy for others to design stuff. So I want each encounter to have like just this is the XP you would get from an encounter. And this here, getting to room 2, that's circumventing the encounter. You're not dealing with the zombie, you're not dealing with the portcullis, you're circumventing it, which will get you half the achievement, or half the XP. The permanently solving this room would be to open up the portcullis and kill that zombie so that you can free flow from room 1 to room 2 without having to climb and stuff. So that would be opening the portcullis. Or in another way, open up this here. I mean, the standard solution would be to open up the portcullis here, but if the players figured that they build the bridge across the whole thing, sure. I mean, it's you dealt with the encounter. So okay, so that's how I want it to be. So this is, I want there to be an XP pot for each, let's say, room, but I mean encounter, and that earn half for circumventing, and earn other half for permanent. And this will also sort of help the players see that maybe. I mean, if they deal with the whole encounter as a whole, they won't notice this difference because they will just get all the XP. But if they deal with if they're too scared and just see, oh, there's a zombie here, let's just circumvent them, move over to room 2 and see how to deal with it, then they've dealt with, then they just get half the XP. And they get the other half whenever they deal with this zombie or whatever. Again, they could easily circumvent it each and every time for the next 10, 50, 100 levels. I don't know how many levels I'm gonna get, but and then suddenly when the wizard has fireballs, or they can use bombs or something, then they can just blow up the whole thing and they'll earn the other half because they dealt with the encounter, even though it's like 2 years into the campaign. But that's also how I want the GM to play this. I want them to know that there's specific parts here that needs to be dealt with in order to earn XP, and that circumventing the encounter earns you half, then dealing with it earns the other half. And if you of course deal with both of them together, then you get the whole boss. Now, with that out of the system, I want to move on to room number 2, and I drew this. I drew this. Again, I'm drawing a lot of things here. But again, this is how I roll. I draw. Again, mostly my players, when I play role-playing games, don't see this. This is usually just for visualizing things in my mind, because I have a lot more easier to channel my creativity through drawing stuff than to writing down descriptions. But that's just me. Now, what I have here here's the gatehouse. This is the gatehouse. And here, this is the entrance to the keep, or the... I mean, it's not the keep, because the keep is the inner part of the castle, so it's the entrance to the castle. But here's the keep. This is the tree. Now this is the gatehouse, and of course I saw here that maybe I can add a bridge here with water. This again, if we're already using a drawbridge, then maybe water is involved. Again, water wasn't always involved when you had a drawbridge. You just could have a large pit. But I'm still thinking about this. I want to have some sort of water mechanic, not specifically in the rules or the game, but I want there to be a mechanic for, like, you drain water from one room, which then opens up the room, and so you can explore it more, and it fills up water in a different room, and that has some floating devices, which means that you can walk somewhere else. So I want some water mechanics, typical water temple Zelda thing. But okay, so I'm introducing water already here, just as an element, so that it doesn't come as a surprise to the other players that there's water around. Not that it matters much, but it matters in my mind, so that's why I drew it in. Now, so this is the entrance. up here. Now I'm thinking this here is room 5. This is specifically room 5, opening this here entrance. Because if you've dealt with room 1 here, which is the gatehouse, and then you've moved to room 2, 3, and 4, and then room 5, which is the treasure revelation plot twist room, will be the treasure is now you have a free pass into, you've opened up this part of the dungeon. Yeah, now you can walk up here and then you can explore some more around in this castle, or you can go back to the camp, and other campers, other civilians can also go up along with you and join you in trying to scavenge or trying to figure out what's in this keep and so on. So we have here now in this typical castle design as we have here. Well, this here is called Svinga. It's a Svinga. It's German. It's German. It's a Zwinger, which is a very narrow. I haven't drawn it very narrow here, and that's because I just haven't done that. But it's a very narrow corridor thing that winds upwards like this. Usually it winds upwards, so that you have these what's it called? I'm gonna Google this. Yeah. Okay. So here you have the battlements. That's what it's called. You have the battlements over here. So where you can guard whatever's going on, and watch out for enemy armies. Now again, if I just have this as a very steep hill here, which is a very typical placement for a castle, and then a low bombardment here. Is it bombardment? Battlements. I call it bombardment. Battlements. You have a low battlement here, and then a castle over here, or a tower over here, which will help with defending these battlements from other invaders. And then you have a battlement over here that overhangs the outer battlements, which again means that if somebody invades here and gets into this area here, there's still a battlement here that you can defend others, defend the inner part, the outer battlement. And then people can move along up here, and as they do, people can retreat and move up to this battlement up here and still have a fighting chance. Again here, this Zwinger is a long, narrow corridor, both because then if somebody is able to breach in here, people can stand up on these battlements and shoot down on their targets, and their targets are in a very narrow space, which means that you're actually a sitting duck, waiting just to be killed by whatever arrows or whatever they're using. Plus, since it's very long and narrow, it also means that you can't bring any long and big things, like for instance a long ladder or a battering ram. So the swinger from the top will look something like this. Again, you can make as many swingers as you want, or like turns as you want, but having this long and narrow corridor here. So this here is the gatehouse. It is the entrance here. So if you have a long stick or whatever, this is a very sharp turn, which makes it very awkward to move this long. Well, if it's a ladder, it's a ladder, or if it's a battering ram, it's a battering ram. But also, when you move over here, this is a very sharp turn in here. Which again means that if you're trying to use a battering ram, then it might not even fit because it's not wide enough. So that's basically castle design for you. Now, I want to create this from room 1 here to room 5 over here. Well, room 5 here can actually be on the back. Here. It can be on the back so that the players... I'm thinking that maybe this would be just a door, a wooden door. But I'm not sure. But anyways, I made a very big door. Usually the entrance doors are much smaller. But still, this is fantasy, so it doesn't matter. If I have this entrance part on the back side here, this is room 5, I can have room 4 on the top here. Room 4 here. And come to think of it, if I then have room 2 here, that the swinger part, this whole long section here is room 2. And then I might set up that room 3. I just drew a tower here just for no reason. But I might say that I could have 2. I'm really breaking the rules of how to create this 5-room dungeon, but here I have room 1 as the gateway, and then they walk up along here into this entrance. And maybe they don't have the resources in order to vault this door to get over it. Maybe they don't have the resources and they have to search for in room 3 here in order to do that. Now, of course, if they checked those rooms as they walked along, then maybe they found it. But if not, they have to backtrack and go back to room 3. So yeah, and then that also actually teaches them different aspects of this. Again, this is a tutorial section, so this teaches them that there's backtracking. They can backtrack. So it's a very narrow hallway here. I'm going to add some ruined something here, and then they can walk into this, search for these different rooms in room 3 again with some setback. I don't know yet what, but change up the pacing, because this will be a very long pacing of, I don't know, yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that. And then have these smaller sections, this room 3 over here, that are just small and very dangerous. And then room 4 up on top here, which will maybe be sort of an open open battlefield thing where they might fight zombies. Maybe. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to introduce zombies yet, or if I'm just going to introduce a pack of wild wolves, or maybe some goblin people, something. But some combat or conflict on top of here, and then as a reward, they can climb down, open up this gate, and then they will have a free entrance in here, which will sort of end the tutorial section. So yeah, I was going to do room 2 this part, but I didn't because I had so many other things to explain. But yeah, that's just how I do things. So yeah, this was very interesting, very fun, and I hope to see you next time when I hopefully will do room 2 and not the entrance overview. So yeah, see you around.